I'm going to just back up and read this paragraph that we covered last time and then continue from there. And so the author says, may Allah have mercy upon him. ولا يجوز أن يصرح بخطبة معتدة. It is not permissible to explicitly propose to a woman in her waiting period. Or we could say, it is not permissible to be explicit about proposing to a waiting woman. It is not permissible to be explicit about proposing to a waiting woman. What does propose mean? Propose means to request her hand in marriage. So you cannot explicitly request her hand in marriage when she's a waiting woman, a woman in her waiting period, in her iddah. So how could you do it? You could only do it, like he says, وَيَجُوزُ أَنْ يَعْرِضَ لَهَا or يُعَرِّض لَهَا. يُعَرِّض. وَيَجُوزُ أَنْ يُعَرِّضَ لَهَا. And it is permissible to hint to her, to be indirect. وَيَنْكِحَهَا بَعْدَ انْقِضَاءِ عِدَّتِهَا. And then to marry her after the conclusion of her waiting period. And that's going to be if she's not returnable. This permission to hint at wanting to marry her is if she is not returnable. For if she is returnable, then any sort of proposition is forbidden. You may not propose to a woman in her iddah if she's returnable, meaning her husband divorced her once or twice only. If she's not returnable, tell me 2 cases, please, when she's not going to be returnable. I mentioned them for you last week. It's not the only cases, but these 2 are standard and common. 2 cases when she's not going to be returnable. Tell me, please. 5, 4. 1/3 divorce. Correct answer. And khula. Correct answer. She will not be returnable if her husband divorced her thrice, or if they did khula, which we'll talk about when we get to that chapter. Khula is a specialized divorce. Okay. So if she were divorced thrice, or they did khula then, and now she's in her waiting period, then he could hint to her by saying such things as Enti Jamila, you are beautiful, or Rubba Raghibin Fik, many a man is interested in you. And there's a lesson there, which is that what? That's not haram. For some people, they think anything like that's haram. They think if you told a woman she's beautiful, that's a sin. Or anything like that. It's not a sin. That's the type of person that's going to think that just if 2 men and 1 woman were in the same room, there's a sin here. Or 2 women and 1 man is in the same room, such a type of person would think there's a sin here. Or if a man was giving lessons to a woman, even in public, religious lessons, or a woman was giving religious lessons to a man, even in public, they would think this is a sin. There's no sin here in these cases. And then he can marry her after the conclusion of her waiting period. Okay, here's a question for you. I only want a number. How many cases of iddah are there? How many cases of iddah are there? Give me only a number, please, not names. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm surprised. Any answer here? Salam said 2. No. Answer is 4. Oh, somebody else gave an answer. What? Someone said 3. No. The answer is 4. There are 4 cases of iddah because a woman is either a menstruating woman. That's 1. Or number 2, a non-menstruating woman. Or number 3, a pregnant woman. Or number 4, a widow. 4 cases of iddah. There's a chapter on iddah. So I'll save the talk until then. Let's not go further here about iddah so we can talk about it in its own chapter. Okay. Then the author says, Rahimahullah, وَالنِّسَاءُ عَلَى ضَرْبَيْنِ. There are 2 types of women. ثَيِّبَاتٌ وَأَبْكَارٌ. Deflowered and virgin. So deflowered means non-virgin, not virgin, and virgin. Okay. Subhanallah. So really quick here. You know what these words mean. She's not virgin or she's virgin. But you should know that the female is usually born with a membrane in her vagina. This membrane in English, they call it hymen. Hymen. Yeah, it's like some skin. It's basically like if you bought a brand new package and it's sealed with plastic, for example. Sealed. You didn't open it yet. Allah is wise. So the woman is usually born like this with this membrane. This membrane, though, in Arabic, what is called? It's called bakara. Bakara means virginity. So the word for virgin is bikr. Bikr. With the kasr on the ba and the sukun on the kaf. Al-bikr. And the word for virginity is bakara. And the word for the hymen, unless there's another word too, the word for the hymen is also bakara. Virginity. Subhanallah. When Sheikh Samir taught us this, the first time I was learning this, he was talking about some cases. I'm going to actually, let me not get ahead. I'll mention it for you in one moment so it fits right into the lesson. So that's that. Now you know what is the virgin and what is the hymen. That's important. So why this matters that there's 2 types of women, a deflowered woman and a virgin woman. Is there a difference between them? Yeah, there are differences between them. There are some different rules between the deflowered woman and the virgin woman. The author mentions something here when he says, فَالْبِكْرُ يَجُوزُ لِلْأَبِ وَالْجَدِّ إِجْبَارُهَا عَلَى النِّكَاحِ. For the virgin, it is permissible for the father or the grandfather to force her to marry. I'm not going to say it like that. I'm going to say it straightforwardly and bluntly here. I'm not going to put salt on it here or sugar. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is permissible for the father or the grandfather to force her to get married, to force her to marry, meaning to do a marriage contract on her behalf without her permission, without her input, and then she's going to be married. I'm saying it like that. Uh, because some people are afraid to say the truth in a strong way sometimes. They're afraid to offend some people. So, so I'm just saying it as it is. Well, somebody might say, and they might say, why? Why? Someone might say, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I love America. That's why I love the West. You can do whatever you want to do. Nobody's going to force me to get married. Uh, why? How's that? Because, first of all, that's not absolute. It's not absolute that the father and the grandfather can force her to marry. It's under conditions. If the conditions are fulfilled, then he can force her to get married. Such conditions as that the man that she's being married to, that she's being given in marriage to, is a match for her. A match for her. How is it a match for her? By, for example, if she's the daughter of a statesman, then he's not a trash man, for example. That's not to say being trash man is bad. But if this is what the religion told us, then that means there's something here. Don't forget to, brothers and sisters, leave your opinions to the side. Leave your opinions at the door. All opinions are at the door. Here we are just interested in religious rules, not opinions. Not feelings here. So, yeah, maybe he's a trash man. And her father is a statesman. Then he's not a match for her. That's just an example. Whether you can conceive it or not, yeah, and you might be someone who says, what? Well, I'm a trash man and I'm good for anyone. I'm just as good for the statesman's daughter as anyone else. So, the religion has wisdom beyond your opinion. The religion has wisdom beyond your opinion here. So then, in such a case, he would not be a match for her. But he can ask her if he wants to really marry her to the trash man. Then he can just talk to her. What we're saying is he can't force her. He can't force her. If he's not a match, if the man is not a match for her, her father or her grandfather cannot force her. Also, she is getting a dowry of a woman like her. She is getting a dowry of a woman like her. And some other conditions, like there is not animosity between the father and the daughter. So if all the conditions are fulfilled, then the father or the grandfather, in case the father is missing or unqualified, can give her in marriage without her acceptance, without her permission. So that one still wants to say, why? And the answer is that I know, that I have learned, is that because the father of all of her men is the one who has the most compassion for her. And he won't do this without that being advantageous for her. Yeah. Don't ask me, what if he's a fool? What if her dad is an utter fool? What if he doesn't know how to make good decisions? Then all that is yani secondary things. All those are trying to find a detail before looking at all those extra things there. Which man is most interested in the woman's welfare? Normally, it's going to be her father. So the man who is most interested in the girl's welfare is not going to give her away in marriage uh, in a harmful way. It's going to be for her benefit. Okay. So it is permissible for the father or the grandfather to compel the virgin to marry, meaning to do the marriage contract without seeking her permission or even her input. والثيب لا يجوز تزويجها إلا بعد بلوغها وإذنها. And as for the deflowered woman, it is not permissible to give her in marriage, but after puberty and with her permission. A deflowered woman cannot be given in marriage, but after puberty and with permission, her acceptance. What this means is, if there happened to be a prepubescent girl who is not a virgin, it is not valid. It's not possible to give her in marriage. She can't be married. A non-virgin prepubescent girl cannot be married. Cannot be married. You have to wait for her to reach puberty and then seek her permission. Ah, so what does it mean that she's a virgin? So you know what that means. It means she never had sexual intercourse before. Uh, but it's possible that a virgin loses her hymen. It is possible that a virgin loses her hymen. Ah, and what do they call the hymen in Arabic? Bakara. So then, if I say it that way, I would say, according to that, it's possible for a virgin to lose her virginity. But she's still a virgin, though. How could she lose her virginity and still be a virgin? The meaning is that she lost her hymen. She's still a virgin, though. How she would lose her hymen? She might be born without one. That's possible. Or she could lose her hymen by falling down, or by riding a horse, or by something being inserted into her other than the male organ, such as a finger or something else, and therefore breaks her hymen, but she's still counted as a virgin. And also, if she never had vaginal sex, but she did have anal sex, then she's still a virgin. But I wanted to get at something about the hymen. Yani, a woman might lose her hymen, or her hymen would get broken, not by sexual intercourse, and so she would still be a virgin. But what do they call the hymen in Arabic? They call it bakara. So, how would you translate bakara usually? The word bakara. Usually you translate it as virginity. So, if you translate hymen as, yeah, if you translate, if you call hymen virginity, but the hymen is like some skin, it's a membrane. If you call that virginity, then you would say, according to that, that a woman could lose her virginity and still be a virgin. Well, then how could that be? Because here, the virginity really means the hymen. She might lose her hymen, but still be a virgin. That's clear? I think it's clear. So when Sheikh Samir taught us this is how he was talking. I was confused. I didn't know what he was saying. Because he was talking about how she lose her virginity and she's still a virgin. I did not know what he was saying because he never used the word hymen. So I didn't know what he was saying. So I had to ask. So I said, what does virginity mean? So he looked at me like he was so mad at me. And then he didn't answer me. So I had to sit there and stay confused. It wasn't until I don't even know when I realized what he was talking about. But I take a lesson from that because that's how sometimes I think somebody's playing games with me. Ask me a question and I'm like, are you serious? In this case, I was so serious. I had no idea what he was saying. SubhanAllah. So I'll try to be patient with you guys more. Insha'Allah ta'ala. Yes. What else is the difference between virgin and deflowered woman? If a virgin woman marries a man who already has a wife, she deserves a 7-day honeymoon. 7 days, 7 consecutive days. Whereas the deflowered woman who marries a man who already has a wife, she deserves a 3-day honeymoon, not 7. But he can give her 7. We'll see that when we come back to it too, inshallah. Then the author says, Rahimahullah. Well, first, any question? Fasl, section. وَالْمُحَرَّمَاتُ بِالنَّصِّ 14. 14 women are not permissible to marry, as per the documentation of the religious texts. Sab'un bin nasab. 7 are by blood relation. Yani kinship. 7 are by kinship. وَهُنَّ الْأُمِّ. They are the mother. وَإِنْ عَلَتْ. And all those above her. Yani grandmother, great grandmother, great great grandmother, and so on. وَالْبِنْت. The daughter. وَإِنْ سَفُلَتْ. And all those below her. So that's daughter and granddaughter and great granddaughter and great great granddaughter and so on. وَالْأُخْتِ. And the sister, whether she's full sister or half sister. Half sister would mean on the father's side or on the mother's side. Either way, you can't marry your sister. When we say you can't marry your sister, this means uh, if she's on the father's side, that means there was marriage contract. So if a man had a boy, let's say he had the boy in wedlock, he had a girl out of wedlock. So according to the Shafi'i school, this boy and this girl are marriageable. And even here, where he says, wal bint, and the daughter, you can't marry the daughter. According to the Shafi'i school, yani, when you say bint here, this means she's born in wedlock. And if she's not born in wedlock, we're not going to call her bint, daughter, not in a literal sense. That if she's born out of wedlock, then that's what some people might call biological. My biological daughter or my biological son, they say. Uh, Subhanallah. But there's another word that goes there. It's often not a nice word, and that word is bastard. So the bastard girl is marriageable to the man from whom she was created. She was created from some man's fluid, but out of wedlock, Shafi'i school, the strong saying in the Shafi'i school is that she's marriageable to that one that she was created from his semen out of wedlock, but it's disliked to do so. And therefore, if they're marriageable, this means he can't be alone with her once she gets too big, and he can't see her hair, etc. Very important thing for us as Muslims not to have children out of wedlock. Leave that to the non-Muslims. So والبنت وإن سفلت, and the daughter, yani if she's born in wedlock, and all those below her, yani granddaughter, great granddaughter, والأخت, and the sister, whether full sister or half sister from either side, والخالة والعمة, and the paternal aunt and the maternal aunt and the paternal aunt. The khala is the maternal aunt from the mother, and the amma is the paternal aunt from the father. And some people say aunt instead of aunt. So then you'd say the paternal aunt and the maternal aunt. Wa bintul akh, and the daughter of the brother, which is the niece. She's not marriageable. Wa bintul ukht, and the daughter of the sister, which is also the niece. Your niece from your brother or your niece from your sister. You cannot marry her. And it was said, I don't know if the Jews still do it, was said the Jews married their nieces. That was documented many centuries ago. It's mentioned in some of the tafsirs. That's how I know about it. So I don't know if they still do that. What's closest you can marry? Cousin. Even first cousin, but that's disliked. Better not to. It's feared that, Yani, you can marry your first cousin, but it's feared for your child. There's fear for your child if you marry your first cousin. Mention tafsir, might be in Nasafi, might be in Jalalain. It's probably in one of those two. Those are ones I spent most time studying, but I don't remember which one. Why is there fear for the child? Because child might be born with weakness. In case of what? Fear, yeah. Yani, a man marries his first cousin. So maybe their baby's going to come out weak. That's what's being said here. وَاثْنَانِ بِالرَّضَاعِ. Two are forbidden from marrying because of breastfeeding. There's more than two, but there are two that are mentioned in the religious texts. Who are they? الأم المرضعة والأخت من الرضاع. The nursing mother and the sister from nursing. How do you get a sister from nursing? Because the woman who nursed you had a daughter. Then her daughter became your sister by nursing. How do you become a nursing father? Because your wife that you're the reason she has breast milk. She nursed a child. Then that child became your nursing child. You're the nursing father. The ex-spouse, is it unlawful to marry their child? We're going to see right now. I'll tell you. وَأَرْبَعٌ بِالْمُصَاهَرَةِ. And four are forbidden by marriage, meaning by being in-laws. Because of being in-laws, they are forbidden. Four according to the religious documents. Zawja, the mother of the wife. So that's your mother-in-law. Warabiba, and the stepdaughter. That's your wife's daughter. But not absolutely. Rather, إذا دخل بالأم, if one consummated with her mother. So here, this is the answer for your question, the one who just asked me. A man married a woman who had a daughter. What if he divorced this woman? Can he marry her daughter? Only if he never consummated with the woman. Then he could marry her daughter. But if he consummated with the woman, then her daughter becomes like his daughter. Then khalas. She will be forever forbidden. But that doesn't go the other way with the men. If a woman married a man who has a son, he will become non-marriageable to her immediately by the mere marriage contract. So, if a man marries a woman who has a mother, her mother becomes forbidden for him immediately by the mere marriage contract. So he's going to be able to, as soon as they do the marriage contract, he's going to be able to hug her mom out of happiness. And he's mahram for her now. So if he saw her hair or he traveled with her, for example, that's all valid. Or he touched her, it's not going to break his wudu. It's not going to break his wudu. If he marries a woman who has a daughter, then her daughter will not become mahram for him until he consummates the marriage with his wife, her mother, girl's mother. Was zawjatul ab, the father's wife. That's called stepmother. So your father married a woman. That woman became unlawful for you by the mere marriage contract. And likewise, your grandfather. Your grandfather married a woman. That woman became non-marriageable for you by the mere marriage contract. Was zawjatul ibn, and the wife of the son, the daughter-in-law. She becomes forbidden for you by the mere marriage contract. Your son married a girl, married married a young lady. So she becomes forbidden for you by the mere marriage contract. So in all of this, who's the one that doesn't become forbidden by the mere marriage contract? The stepdaughter. The stepdaughter becomes forbidden by consummating the marriage with her mother. Hold on, let me see these questions real quick.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I don't think you had it on there. The uncle's wife. Would one be able to be alone with her?
No, uncle's wife is marriageable.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, if his uncle dies or divorces her, he could marry her.
And Sheikh, they also include her children too, right?
Say that again, please.
It also includes her daughters.
Her daughters. Yeah, for sure. Her daughters. You mean if that's from his uncle? If those are her daughters from his uncle, those are his cousins. Cousins are marriageable. If those are her daughters not from his uncle, then for sure they are definitely marriageable.
Thanks, Sheikh.
You're welcome. You said, can you repeat about the stepdaughter? So, who's the one that does not become unlawful to marry by the mere marriage contract? It's going to be the stepdaughter. She's not going to become unlawful until the man consummates the marriage with her mother. Then she will become like his daughter. I think that's all I mentioned. To follow up if you want to. So, وَوَاحِدَةٌ مِنْ جِهَةِ الْجَمَعِ. And one type is forbidden min jihatil jama' because of already being married. Okay, meaning وهي أخت الزوجة, and she is the wife's sister. Yes. So if you're married to a woman and she has a sister, then you cannot conduct a valid marriage contract with her sister without divorcing her first or without her dying first. If she dies first, yani if she dies or you divorce her, then you could marry her sister. So that's true, that's correct. And what if we're talking about an issue here of other than marriage, though? Like, what if you had two slave women? They were sisters, and neither of them is married. And we say it's valid for a man to be intimate with his unmarried slave woman. If he had two sisters who were slaves, he cannot be with both of them. That's the issue that I was talking about before. You can just take it the way I said it to you now. So I'm going to leave this translation here like this. Forbidden because of already being married. A, min jihatil jama'. That's going to be the wife's sister. What if he owned two sisters as slaves? He cannot be intimate with both of them. He can only be intimate with one of them. He wouldn't be able to be intimate with the other one without something that makes her lawful, such as that he gave her sister away in marriage. So now she's not lawful anyway. Or he sold her. Now she's not his slave anymore. Or what if he was married to a woman and he had her sister as a slave? Then he cannot be intimate with this slave woman of his because of being married to her sister. ولا يجمع بين المرأة وعمتها ولا بين المرأة وخالتها. It is not permissible to be simultaneously married to a woman and her paternal aunt or her maternal aunt. Yes. Yani, just like the sister. Just like you can't be married to a woman and her sister in the law of Muhammad, you can't be married to a woman and her aunt, or aunt if you prefer that word. Here's an easy question for you, I think. In the laws of which prophet was it permissible for a man to marry two sisters at once? In the laws of which prophet was it
Yeah,
permissible? Sorry?
Prophet Yaqub.
Prophet
Prophet Yaqub.
Yaqub. Yeah, Prophet Yaqub. Alayhi salatu wassalam. And then that was abrogated by the law of the Torah. وَيَحْرُمُ مِنَ الرَّضَاعِ مَا يَحْرُمُ مِنَ النَّسَبِ. And whatever is forbidden by blood relation is forbidden by breastfeeding. And I think I can squeeze this last line in here, this last little paragraph, which is what I intended to do today. And so the author says, and he's changing his subject now, وَتُرَدُّ الْمَرْأَةُ بِخَمْسَةِ عُيُوبٍ. A woman is returned. She is returned. This means one can breach his marriage contract. It's like if you bought something and you wanted to take it back to the store. You don't want it anymore. You don't want it to be yours anymore. Like that. وَتُرَدُّ الْمَرْأَةُ بِخَمْسَةِ عُيُوبٍ. The woman is returned for 5 defects. بِالْجُنُونِ وَالْجُذَامِ وَالْبَرَصِ وَالرَّتْقِ وَالْقَرَنِ. Insanity, even if it's temporary insanity, means comes and goes. So, Yani, he married her and then he discovered that she's crazy, literally. So then he can take her back. Yani, like take her back to her family. Wal Judam. Judam is a skin disease, or might be more than a skin disease. Possibly Judam is some sort of necrosis. Judam causes the skin to crack. First it reddens, then it blackens, and it cracks, and then it disintegrates, meaning it crumbles. So very horrible there. And according to those scholars who confirm contagion, it's contagious too. But according to other scholars, contagion is not confirmed. It's not confirmed. Wal baras, and leprosy. Leprosy is an ancient disease, a skin disease in which the blood stops flowing in the skin. There is no blood flow in the skin. And the skin turns white and ugly. And maybe the person would also develop ulcers, yani sores, open sores, and he might turn hideous from this baras, leprosy. Warrat, and for the vagina to be sealed by flesh. And that means where the penis enters. For that to be sealed by flesh, then he can take her back unless she gets an operation to open it up. Or for the vagina to be sealed by bone, al-qaran, also same thing, then he can take her back unless she gets an operation to open up the area. ويرد الرجل بخمسة عيوب. ويرد الرجل بخمسة عيوب. And a man is also returned for 5 defects. بالجنون والجذام والبرص. The first 3 are the same. Insanity, judam, or leprosy. والجب والعنة. And for the penis to be cut off, yani a missing penis. What's meant here is if he has something, it's less than a head. Whatever he might have is less than the tip. Then she can breach her marriage contract here. But if he has as much as a tip only, then she cannot breach the marriage contract for this. And the impotence which means here, as we learned, he is unable to have intercourse. He is unable to have vaginal intercourse with her. He is unable to have vaginal intercourse with her. Why? Because of a weakness in his heart or a weakness in his organ. Yani, the strength of the heart has something to do with the strength of the man's erection. So could be he has a weakness in his heart and therefore he is unable to perform. Or he has weakness in his organ and then he would be unable to perform. So if she discovers that her husband is like this, not that he became like that, no. When she married him, she found him like this. Then she can take him back too. Unless he gets treatment for that. If a man had intercourse with his wife even one time, then this defect will not be applicable to her. Also, in the case of the impotence, if he has anal intercourse with her, this is not enough to cut her off from her right to cancel this marriage, to break this marriage. That's why I said vaginal. And Yani, that's what the scholars documented. He is unable to have vaginal intercourse with her. Why we don't just say intercourse? Because supposing he was able to have anal intercourse with her, which is haram, that's still not going to be enough anyway. Question, what about if you find out this woman can't bear children? This is not a defect that allows a man to cancel his marriage. And no other defect, only these 5. What other defects might there be? She might have halitosis. Isn't that bad breath? Halitosis? But like extremely bad breath. And this is not enough for him to be able to break the marriage contract. Or maybe she has fierce armpits. Her armpits. The smell of her armpits very strong. This is not enough for him to be able to break the marriage contract. And also on her side, if he has halitosis or strong armpits, this is not enough to break the marriage contract. Question, so the marriage can only be breached if one of these matters is discovered when they get married initially. I don't know if the insanity is restricted to discovering that upon getting married. He said, or can it be at any time during the marriage if one of them appears? And well, what we took was ويشترط في العيوب المذكورة الرفع فيها إلى القضاء. So for breaking the marriage for these mentioned defects, it's a condition that the case be raised up to a judge. ولا ينفرد الزوجان بالتراضي بالفسخ فيها. And the spouses are not independently able to accept breaching this contract. But that's a saying. There's another saying, which is that's not your question, so I don't know the answer to your question. Does this mean he doesn't need to pay her mahr? That part also, I don't know. Like, what if he already paid it? Does he get it back? I don't know. Any other question? Is it permissible for the wife to ask for a khula? I mean, that's what I knew. Some people threw doubt into my heart. They told me you need a reason. What I knew that what I thought was that she doesn't need to. So, had it not been that some people told me I'm wrong there, I would tell you she can. So you need to ask, inshallah, since I'm not sure. Because she's paying. It's different from just a regular divorce where she says to him, divorce me unrightfully. In the case of khula, she's paying. But some people claimed that I was wrong there, so, and I didn't ask yet to check.
Brother, can you repeat the last term that you just said? And what does it mean exactly?
You said, can I repeat what?
The person asked about a particular thing. I didn't know what it meant. It starts with D.
So the person says, the question is it permissible for a wife to ask for khula? Khula is when a woman pays to be released from her marriage. It's a ransom. Khula is a ransom. She pays to be released. So the question is, can she ask for that? Can she just say to her husband one day, for no reason, let's say, I want khula. How much you want? Or that's haram. So I was saying, and some people told me she needs a reason, though I thought I learned she doesn't need a reason because she's paying. So we need to check.
Exactly.
I mean, question: what's a rightful reason for her to ask for a divorce, like her husband doesn't support her? Yani, she cannot ask for a divorce even if she doesn't like him, if he fulfills her rights. What if a man he lodged his wife, he provides her with food and clothing, he does all his obligations, and she just doesn't even like him. She's not attracted to him. She's not interested in anything about him. She does not have a right to ask for a divorce here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
This is what you just said. Even though she don't have a right, but you see that she want to get out of it. She's not happy. Is it best to just let her pay the call out?
I don't know, but if yani, if you see she's not happy, he can just divorce her. He doesn't have to make her pay.
Yeah, or just divorce her. I mean, that's an evil one.
Yeah. Well, is it better to? I don't know if that's better. I haven't heard.
Okay.
But one thing is for sure, which is it is his right. It is his right if he does not want to divorce her. That's for sure. And some people, and for them, I don't know why, they see this as a strong argument. They say, well, she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to. Well, she doesn't like it. She doesn't want to. It's his right. She don't have to want to. That's why the sisters need to be careful about who they marry, because she might marry a guy who will never let her go. And if he is fulfilling her rights, he doesn't have to. MashaAllah. Like someone would say, you say to a person, well, it's his right though. And then they would say, well, this is right, but she doesn't want to be there. So it's like they don't understand what you're saying. This is right means doesn't matter if she doesn't want to. Doesn't matter. Really. It's his right. That's just like, what if he doesn't want to support her? He has the money, he wants to keep it for himself. So too bad, right? Yeah, it's too bad. He had to come out of his pockets whether he wants to or not. May Allah Ta'ala grant the Muslims success in their marriages and their relationships. And their relationships, yani their marital relationships and their relationships with their parents and their relationships with their siblings and their relationships with anyone else. I mean, may Allah grant the Muslims success. I mean, any last question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Question my son is asked.
Yes.
What would be the best age? He's 10. What would be the best age for him to get married?
Well, As far as I know, it's not going to go by his age. It's going to go by his interest. So his interest means, does he want to be married, or does he feel like he doesn't need to be married? For example, let's say he might turn, let's just say 16, for example, and say, Khalas, Pop, I need to get married. So then so be it. Or maybe he winds up 21, 22, 25, and you're saying to him, son, when you gonna get married? He say, Dad, I'm just taking care of my things here. I'm good. I'm not tripping. I'm not sinning. I don't need it right now. So it depends.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One I posted on there, but you didn't see it. Inshallah. If a sister is married and is asked, "Are you married?" She says no. What's her situation?
She told a lie.
Right.
So she just has to repent. Even if a man did. If a man was married and he's the one who's able to divorce his wife by a statement. If a man
Right.
was married and he was asked, "Are you married?" and he said no, that's not a divorce, it's only a lie.
Mm. My second question is kind of, this question came up when you talked about slavery.
Yeah.
These things that's happening with, say, this might sound kind of rat, but these people who take women, abduct women, and sell them around the world, are they slaves?
They're not slaves. Because a person's not going to be a slave by being kidnapped. Person's going to be, if a person were free, then the only way he's going to become a slave after being free is if this one was a kafir who was a POW, a prisoner of war. Kafir prisoner of war becomes a slave. If it's a woman or a child, they become slave by mere capture. If it's a pubescent male, he does not become slave by mere capture, but he could become enslaved.
Right.
The imam could see to make him a slave. The imam's going to do what's best for the Muslims when he gets those pubescent males. So he might say, this one, he's leader of the group. Cut his head off. This one, he's big and dumb and strong. Make him a slave. This one, he has a lot of money. Let's put him up for ransom. Like this,
Mhm.
for example.
So if some Muslims in Russia, or vice versa, Ukraine, they capture some people, are they slaves? Or is it
I don't know.
Okay.
But in case when it is valid, they're not going to become slaves of the one who captures them. They're just going to become slaves only.
And then sold?
And then put into the pot, basically.
Okay.
Figurative pot here.
Okay.
Yani, they became money.
Yeah.
If we say that these are women and children we're talking about here, then by mere capture, they became money. Then they get put into the pot with the rest of the money. And then the money gets distributed to the fighters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Barakallahu feek.
Amin Wafiq. Here's a question. If he divorced her once or twice, but not 3 times, does he still support her? Yes, until her iddah is over. During her iddah, he has to support her with full support like a wife. Complete wife support. Complete spousal support until her iddah is done. Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu fikum. Question. Someone asked about a woman feeling emotionally unsafe. This requires investigation here. Can she ask for a divorce? Yani, if somebody answered that question with a yes or no immediately, I would say to the one who got the answer, check that answer. Because what that means, emotionally unsafe, that's up for interpretation. But what it looks like she's physically safe, though. Looks like she's in her house. For example, she's emotionally unsafe in a warm house with lights on and clothing and running water and food. So that requires some looking into. And I want to tell you, brothers, your sisters in particular too. Don't be. I advise you. Don't be one of some women, like some women who they don't need no man. They are strong, independent women. They don't need no man. Don't be like that, because what's going to happen when you become weak and dependent? Then you're gonna wish you had a man. So that's just an advice. طيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.